How would you like to work at a club where the members are always on their best behavior? Wouldn't that be the coolest job in the world? Well, here it is. It's the military, the officers club. It's all the benefits of club management, but all the members are very well behaved. Why are the members very well behaved?
You have to be on your best behavior in the military.
Why?
You'll get yelled at or discharged or do push-ups.
Absolutely. Your boss, the general, is probably 2 tables over. And if you act up in front of him or her, that's career suicide, right? So I think Vashana is kind of disagreeing with me, but for the most part, they're on their best behavior. They have to be, because you're exactly right. The repercussions are swift and great for them as opposed to a regular club. So a colleague of mine who's a professor I taught with, he ran military clubs for 10 years overseas. He said he loved the job. He says, being a professor is just a little bit better, but if you ever had to go back and work in the industry again, he would absolutely positively do the officers clubs. Again, because the members typically are well behaved. Okay, so I want to talk to you all now about another really interesting job, and most of you don't think it's an interesting job. Who here loved their food service in high school? Who loved lunch in high school? Raise your hand, please. Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Milton, Georgia.
Where?
Milton, Georgia.
Okay. Tell me what you liked about your lunch.
Well, I only liked like certain things. Like they had fish pizza, they had chicken fingers, but like that, everything else kind of was there.
No, but you had something that you like to eat, right?
Yeah.
Good. Did they make it all there? Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Gladstone, New Jersey.
Gladstone, New Jersey. Why'd you like the lunch food?
It was like it was kind of in with the tuition from school, so like, it was like Sodexo-ish.
Okay.
So like it was like a managed service that did our food. So like, I mean, it wasn't amazing, but like I think I went to like a public middle school, and like it was much different. So like I was definitely fortunate with the food.
Okay, good, good.
I went to school in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
It was good up to one point, and I think then they took away, it was in like the middle of my junior year, they took away sweet tea. They took away sweet tea, they took away anything sugar, anything that tastes good, ice cream, they took it all away.
They took rid of the salt at our school.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
So in Tokyo, so perhaps it might be different from American high schools, but just like cafeteria, we can pick some dishes. So actually the managed service, but before, when I was first grade of high school was so awful that when I go to second grade in the high school, the company was replaced another company. I guess it's one of the biggest managed service company in Japan. So
But the food was pretty good.
yeah, it improved drastically. So
Okay,
yeah, it's
good,
fine. But
All right.
yeah.
On the other side, who hated their high school food service? Yeah, okay. Public school? Yeah. Did, I'm in that group there. Who here didn't eat lunch just because the food was so bad? Yeah.
I brought my lunch at a citizen.
Okay,
I
Brian.
didn't eat lunch, but I brought it from home.
I didn't eat lunch, and as soon as school was over, I jumped in my car and went to like McDonald's or Popeyes and ran back for track practice or whatever. But here's what I'm going to get up on my soapbox now and give you a little speech. Okay. I believe that just about every problem we have nowadays in society and in our nation can be solved with education. Let me say that again. I believe that education cures almost all of our ills. Okay? Now, my wife is a school teacher, and she teaches elementary school. And she said something to me that's pretty sad, actually. And she said, you know what? My colleagues and I can usually tell by second grade whether these people, who's going to be successful and who's not going to be successful. Which is pretty strange, because if you look at all the research, doesn't matter if you're black, white, male, female, all these kids' brains are hardwired to learn. And with the exception of some folks that have some educational challenges, everyone starts off on an equal footing. And, you know, kids just are programmed to learn. Part of the problem, and, you know, you can say loser parents or society or whatever, but part of the problem is there's some kids that have 2 strikes against them already. One of those strikes is those kids don't get a proper meal. So when they show up to school, they may not have had breakfast, or they may have had a Pop-Tart, and that's it. What's the problem with that?
Not enough.
It's not enough, they're not ready to learn. What are they thinking all through the morning? I'm hungry, I can't wait for lunch. Teachers at the board teaching them mathematics and their stomach is growling. That's when you start to get that bifurcation. Kids that have nutrition and have a good breakfast are ready to learn. Kids that do not are not ready to learn, and they fall further and further behind. All right, you with me so far? So how do we fix this? I put a challenge out to all of you. If you know, I'll say this about your generation, and I really like this. You're very philanthropic. You truly want to make a difference in the world. When I was growing up, it was kind of okay, you know, materialistic, and who's going to get the best job and the highest paycheck. I think your generation is much less concerned about that, and a lot of you would sacrifice a big paycheck in order to get a job where you feel like you make a difference. If that's the case, I want you to consider school food service. We need to raise a generation of school food service managers that go into schools and can turn this around. And again, the reason I asked you whether you enjoyed your lunch or not, probably the biggest difference was those of you who liked your lunch and it was good, nutritious food, probably had a school food service manager who cared, who wanted to make sure that, you know, okay, I've got a limited budget, but let's make good, nutritious food for these kids and serve it to them and make sure that, you know, they get what they need. Those of you who hated your high school food probably had someone who could care less. Now, here's the problem in school. Remember we talked about prison and captured clientele? A lot of school food service managers thinks, okay, the kids are captive clientele. They're going to eat what we put in front of them. But is that the case? Do you have a choice? You absolutely do have a choice. And the choice is not to eat, which is a bad choice for everybody. Okay? So there's a new wave of, and I have a really good friend I grew up with, and she's a school food service manager. And you know what? It's a tough job, but she goes in every day and she says, look, I need to feed these kids. I need to make sure that they're ready. I need to partner with other educators, not only in making sure that they get fed, but she goes into the classroom and talks about things like nutrition and good food and bad food and what it does to you. Okay? Now, does it pay a lot? Absolutely not. But you know what she really likes? She's got a teacher's schedule. Works 9 months and then has kind of 3 months, I won't say off. She's got to kind of show up, you know, every once in a while at the office. But she's got a pretty good life, and she really feels like she's making a difference. And, you know, I'll give you an example of where my son went to school. And my son went to public school, and he actually went to a school that's kind of in a sketchy neighborhood. He was in the IB program. Anybody do IB? Okay. They had a policy. Everybody who shows up early in the morning gets breakfast for free. And a good breakfast. I mean, you can get scrambled eggs, you get cereal, you get milk, you know. And he would get up in the morning and go and eat breakfast with his friends. Now, you say, well, you know, we weren't poor at the time, I'm certainly not rich. But you're like, shouldn't that be just for a needs basis?
They have that in my school district. Like,
Anybody?
all the way through, anybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Like breakfast is free.
For anybody, doesn't matter what your parents' income
There's
is.
like programs like for income basis, like where school lunch was free, also
Right.
breakfast was free.
What's the problem with doing it for lower income kids? Just doing it for lower income kids. What's the problem? You guys know what the problem is.
Embarrassment, maybe?
You're exactly right. Those kids don't want to be known as the free breakfast or free lunch kids. But if you open it to everybody, there's no social stigma attached to it. My son, like I said, I mean, I would have gladly made him breakfast, or we would have, you know, got him any breakfast he wanted. But he wanted to go hang with his friends and eat breakfast. And it was like the Breakfast Club, not like the movie, but, you know, they all hung out. And so if you know, your parents didn't make you breakfast or you couldn't afford it, you could go early and get fed. And then when the bell rang for first period, you were ready to go and you were ready to learn. And I think that's important. And you know, if kids, and I don't care what socioeconomic status you are, poor, rich, whatever, if you're well fed in the morning, you go into the classroom and you're ready to learn. And so again, consider that if you're considering food service. And you know, and people say, well, I want to go work at, you know, TGI Fridays or whatever. And that's great when you're young. But man, you want to do that like when you're 40s? You want to work every weekend from, you know, 4 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning? You probably want a little better lifestyle.